There really is no good way to start this video, but I wanted to put out a video before all my February videos started dropping. My grandpa just died. My grandpa is like the pillar of my family. He is one of my best friends. We knew it was coming, and despite that, it's been a lot. My grandpa suffers from dementia. So we've been dealing with this since I was in high school. But after falling back in January, he actually, no. It was just before New Year's. He fell, and we admitted him to the hospital. And after running some tests, they pretty much told us we had a month at best. And then this past weekend, not even this past week, it was a week ago today that he passed away. And there's been a lot that's been happening since he passed. My grandpa is, again, the pillar of my family. My grandpa has been there for everybody in the family. And watching how everybody kind of came together. Not all the people we would have wanted, because one of my aunts and one of my uncles still weren't doing what we wanted them to do, but everybody else, seeing that we posted about Grandpa's passing on social media because we knew people would want to know. We wanted to keep everyone in the loop that knows how we've been fighting with Grandpa's dementia and everything. And the amount of people that came out of the woodworks to pay their respects, let us know that we are thinking of them, that they remember Grandpa, that they have these stories of him, that they remember some of his old co-workers from back when he worked at the school districts down in Huntington. All these people that came out, and then the few people who did make the effort to come up and see or go up and see my grandma. We used pretty much the last of our money to send my mom up so she could go be up there with Grandma because it's her dad. And one of my cousins used the last of her money to get herself up there. Her husband made her go. And my other cousin had already been up there since Grandpa had fallen. And when Grandpa passed, he canceled his flight home to his wife and son to be with Grandma for an extra week. And then one of our family friends flew in from Mexico to be there for Grandma and to see everybody, because with my uncle's stroke a couple of years ago, it's been a lot, because Grandpa got a lot worse after Uncle Joe's stroke. And now just to see everybody coming to be here for this family and realizing the amount of lives that my grandpa touched, I am sad that he is gone. I am happy that he is at peace. And anyone who has dealt with anyone who has gone through dementia and has been around somebody who has dementia and Alzheimer's and been with the family through that, they will understand what I mean when I say that I am happy that he is at peace. I am sad, but I am happy. I am more happy than I am sad, because I know Grandpa is now resting with his family. He was one of the last of his family. But seeing the amount of people who have been talking to us about him, the fact that it got a response out of my Uncle Donald, who most of us haven't spoken to in over 30 years. We actually got a response out of him. He didn't come up or anything, but we got a response. And the rest of the people who flew in, who came up, who have been messaging and checking in on Grandma to make sure Grandma's okay, because her and Grandpa were married 58 years. Even though, because my grandpa's black and my grandma's white, they gave them like a couple of days, and they did 58 years together. And Grandma was with him till the very last second. And all of this stuff culminated in my brain together for me to realize that I want to be like my grandpa. I have lived most of my life tucked away, hidden away, not wanting to be in the spotlight because it's terrified me. And the idea of putting myself out there has scared me. But when I was younger, when my grandpa was much more lucid, back when I was in like elementary, middle school, Grandpa always made a big deal about wanting us to do good and do what makes us happy and be the better person. In a lot of hindsight, it dealt mostly with racism, because I had a lot of racism I had to deal with in school because of Grandpa being black. But it also meant do what makes you happy in the whole sense, because Grandpa, while he worked a simple job, he retired, he worked for a school district, he worked for a fiberglass company for a bit, he did janitorial and construction work, and he was happy doing it. It's not what most people would think, but Grandpa loved his jobs, and he loved being able to do those jobs and come home to his wife, Grandma, every day and everything, and he was happy. And that's all Grandpa ever wanted for us. I am one of the last of the grandkids. I believe I am the last, if not one before the last, of the grandkids before we start getting great-grandkids. And so I was with Grandpa a lot. A lot later because I'm much younger than most of my cousins, but I was with him a lot, and he always talked about how you need to do what makes you happy and to basically fuck everybody else and do what you want. And I have not been living that, and I hate that it's taken Grandpa dying to get me to realize that I should have been embodying that from the start, but I'm doing it now in honor of his memory. And I don't even really know kind of what the point of this video is, other than for me to ramble to myself and say this and have a place where I can look back at this, because it's definitely been hard. Everybody in my family has a different way of grieving, and mine is very, very distinctly different from the rest of the family, so me trying to process all my emotions and everything on top of everybody else trying to process theirs and being there for them has been a lot. But I want to start living my life like Grandpa lived his life. I want to live a life to where when my time comes, that many people come out of the woodworks that remember me, that I helped that many people and touched that many lives. I want to be as inspirational as Grandpa has been for this entire family. This is the man who stayed with my grandma through thick and thin, and the two of them would never leave each other's side, and they moved cross-country together to pretty much have a better life, even though still broadly dealt with racism for pretty much their entire life, but it was a little bit easier and a tiny bit better when they moved here to the West Coast. And no matter what, Grandpa and Grandma stuck by each other to the very end. I've always said that I want to find somebody in my life that loves me as much as Grandpa and Grandma love each other, because there is no other relationship in my life that I look up to as much as my grandma and my grandpa. They are the two best people in my life, and I'm so glad that they were around to help raise me. And with Grandpa being gone, that shining light is gone now. He is a part of my spiritual team. He is with me always in spirit, just like my sister. Him and my sister are now together, finally, and he finally gets to meet the one granddaughter that he did not get to have. And so, knowing that I have the two of them there to watch over me even still, it makes me feel so much better and makes me even more empowered to start doing what I want to do. And that involves my YouTube, my music, my writing, being open for any opportunity the universe has put out for me. I am ready to stop living in my shell and start putting myself out in the world. I've been doing a lot of self-work recently, and I do think it's all kind of culminated to this point. And Grandpa passing is, again, this may sound bad to the wrong people, but if you've been with a family who suffered with this as long as we have, you'd understand that this is like the catalyst we all needed to finally breathe a sigh of relief. He is resting and he is at peace, and that is more than he's been in the past 5-6 years, because it's been such a struggle, and knowing that he's at peace is such a nice catalyst for me to know that Grandpa's resting now. I no longer have to worry about him, and Grandma's not going anywhere. We have the entire family supporting Grandma, and I can start doing what Grandpa always wanted me to do. I don't have to wait anymore, because everything in our lives has always been looking after Grandma, and while I've continued to pursue my things while looking after Grandma, I also know that Grandma's got a lot of other strong people, and I can go off and do my thing, and Grandma's okay with that. So 2022 has given me a rough start of a year. I got COVID and then Grandpa, and it's just, I need some good news from 2022 at this point, but I'm willing to put in the work now to do that and to do what needs to be done. to get to the point in my life where I am happy with all of my choices. Because there have been a lot of opportunities I have bypassed out of fear. And even if I'm scared, I know I need to do these things. And I need to live my life the way Grandpa lived his. And that is going to be my forever inspiration going forward. It's always been Grandma and Grandpa, but more so now than ever, it's really Grandma and Grandpa. And I've got Grandpa up on a shrine with my other grandfather that I didn't get to meet. Both of my grandfathers are on the shrine along with my sister, so no matter what, he's always here with me. And I know he's looking after this family because we were everything for Grandpa. And I'm happy that he's at rest with everybody else. And it's a lot. I had my breakdown finally last night. Last night I did finally allow myself to kind of break and deal with everything and let myself really cry. But I know he's in a better place, and that's what's making this easier. And yeah, I mostly just wanted to make this video so that everybody knows who's on, every one of my friends who's on this channel, who know me personally, or the people who want to know me personally, know what's going on in my life right now, because it's a lot. And my February videos were all pre-recorded in December, so I knew there was a reason I wanted to make sure I pre-recorded my first 2 months of my YouTube channel, and now I know why. So my February videos will all have been from 2021, but I am going into the next set of videos for my YouTube channel with a new vigor and a new passion and a new drive, and I thank Grandpa for giving me the energy I need to do this and to push myself forward, and I cannot wait for whatever comes next. But I am definitely still taking another week to breathe and handle things, but I thought reminding myself, talking to myself like I'm doing now and talking to you guys, it might help me a little. And I wanted to just make sure I have this on my channel, similar to what I did when my uncle had his stroke. I need a place. My YouTube channel is my safe place, and I just need this here as well, because I want Grandpa's memory to be a part of my channel as well. Because I bet you $5, most of the creaking noises you heard from the old house that I wasn't able to edit out in most of my original videos were my grandpa walking around upstairs at the height of his dementia when he would be wandering around the house looking for Grandpa. All of those creaking sounds are more than likely Grandpa with his cane. So that he is forever a part of this channel, even if none of you realized it. And for me, that makes me feel better. But yeah. Losing a loved one is hard, but if anyone else knows what this is like, you understand that it's going to take me time to come back completely from this. I'm not going to bounce back immediately, but I do still want to push forward with my YouTube channel and do things, and I know Grandpa wouldn't want us to be sad either. So we followed all of Grandpa's wishes so far, so I'm going to keep following his wishes and continue on with my life and live like he lived to the best of my ability. So whatever the universe has planned for me next, I'm going to take it, even if it terrifies me. If it's good for me, I'm gonna take it, and someday maybe, well, not maybe, but someday I will see Grandpa again, but that is a far distant future, and for the moment, I will have to get used to his absence physically and wait until we can meet again spiritually.